There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will.
Life cycles.
Across cultures and societies, happiness is recognized as a desired state since ancient times. People have theorized about happiness, researched happiness, and sought happiness. Most of us want to be happy, right? And we recognize the power of joy, contentment, and overall pleasant emotions as how we want to feel most or all of the time. But many of our assumptions about happiness are actually wrong, and we can achieve happiness more successfully by considering it in new ways. One common misconception about happiness is that it can be achieved as a definitive accomplishment, like reaching the top of a mountain and planting a flag of happiness. While it is often believed that through relentless pursuit, happiness can be obtained like any other goal, the reality is far more intricate. In simple terms, happiness is not a checkbox to mark off. It isn't something that can be reached as a final destination. Happiness doesn't involve forcing or pressuring oneself to feel a certain way. It is not a constant state, and it will always fluctuate. Striving to be increasingly happy all the time is not realistic. True happiness isn't a continual state of euphoria. It will have its peaks and valleys, and there will be moments of pain and discontent. This is part of the human experience, and one can learn from the challenging times and cherish the positive moments even more in contrast to the negative experiences. According to popular belief, happiness should come easily, and the experience of happiness involves relaxation in a beautiful setting and enjoying indulgent treats. However, these are misleading notions. In reality, the path to joy can often be quite demanding, and facing challenges can actually be a significant source of happiness. If things are either too easy or too difficult, we might become disengaged, but an optimal amount of stress known as eustress can be incredibly motivating. Overcoming a difficult problem, striving toward a challenging objective, or learning something new can bring about a sense of fulfillment. Hard work can be a positive thing when we feel a sense of accomplishment and reward as a result. Putting in effort both physically and mentally can be a source of happiness. Did you know that placing too much emphasis on achieving happiness as your ultimate goal may actually be counterproductive? This is known as the happiness paradox. Chasing after happiness can sometimes make you feel even less happy. You might be wondering why this happens. Well, fixating on any particular emotional state tends to make it harder to attain. Think about the last time you felt anxious about something. Did simply wishing for that anxiety to go away make it disappear? Probably not. In fact, it's more likely that focusing on your anxiety only made you more aware of it. When we become overly preoccupied with our emotions and try to assign meaning to them, whether they're positive or negative, it often increases the pressure to feel a certain way. So, when happiness becomes an obsession and the sole focus of our lives, it can actually lead to stress and anxiety, which are completely opposite to what we're aiming for. It's like trying to hold onto sand at the beach. The tighter we grip, the more it slips away. If we constantly pursue happiness, we're inherently focused on what we lack, which can result in frustration, discontentment, and a sense of scarcity. A study found that people who expend more energy seeking happiness tend to feel more pressure and a lack of contentment. The concept of the backwards law suggests that the more we actively pursue something, the less likely we are to achieve it. This can seem counterintuitive of a society where we are taught to work hard and strive for our goals. However, the idea is that when we stop trying so hard to obtain something, we may actually find it more easily. For example, when you try to fall asleep, your effort will keep you awake, But when we let go of the effort to fall asleep, we often find ourselves drifting off more naturally. Similarly, when we release the constant pursuit of happiness or wealth, we may find ourselves more content with what we have. It's important to note that the backwards law does not mean we should never set goals or make changes in our lives. Rather, it encourages us to be mindful of the relentless pursuit of happiness and to find contentment in the present moment. By letting go of the idea of a problem-free life and accepting the ups and downs, we may find a more positive and fulfilling existence. Think about sunlight. If you stare directly at the sun, it can be harmful to your eyes. However, by breaking down sunlight into its components, you can appreciate and enjoy the colors of the rainbow without direct harm. Similarly, seeking happiness directly can sometimes be detrimental, but by breaking it down into its elements, we can indirectly pursue and savor it. So, what are the key elements of happiness? First element is the spiritual well-being. Spiritually is about finding a sense of meaning and purpose in life, at work and at home. If you wake up in the morning with a purpose, you'll more likely have a sense of joy in what you're doing. The physical well-being is about dealing with stress. The silent killer. In the United States, more than half of the employees do not use up their vacation time. And even those that do, close to half are still tethered to their work. The problem is not the stress, it's the lack of recovery. Relational well-being is very important. The number one predictor of happiness is quality time we spend with people we care about and who care about us. The quality of our relationship makes our life worthwhile. And finally, the emotional well-being. Emotional well-being encompasses dealing with challenging emotions and cultivating positive ones, particularly gratitude. Acknowledging and appreciating the good in our lives can lead to more positivity. Happiness involves the integration of these elements, creating a holistic sense of well-being. It is not a fixed state, but instead exists on a continuum, requiring a lifelong journey. Happiness is not an external event or process. It's a byproduct of living a good life. When you always strive for more, you live a restless life. And that's not a life of happiness. But when you slow down and actually focus on the things that give you inner satisfaction, that's the time you realize you already have everything inside you to be happy.